Hey there, folks. Mike here, and hey, let's get you up to speed with Storyline 2's motion paths. All right, so I have a baseball diamond, and I have this character at home plate, and I want to move him about the screen. So to do so, I'm going to go to my Animations tab, select Add Motion Path, and you'll notice that I have several wonderful choices available to me. I have some basic lines, arcs, and turns. I have some shapes, and I have some custom opportunities down here. I'm going to go with the freeform. You'll notice that I have a crosshair here, so I'm going to click right on top of my character, and you'll notice I have this pull handle. Look at that. I'm going to double click on first base, and a motion path has now been created. Over here in the trigger panel, you'll notice that an associated move trigger has also been created. Now, the move trigger is new to Storyline 2, and it is associated with these motion paths. So the action is move, and the cool thing about this is that it allows us to decide and determine and direct this motion path to move when we want it to. So right now, it's predicated upon when the timeline starts. That's when it's going to move, but I have access to all of these events. So when the user clicks something, when an object is dragged over, when a state changes. So I have a wonderful opportunity here, which we'll do in just a moment, to impact how this moves. So let's first come up here and take a look at some other options that we have with the motion path. So once we add a motion path, we can change the duration. So we can make it go faster or longer here. We have some path options, such as locking or unlocking the origin point, working with easing, reversing the path direction, and relative start point, which we will talk about in a little bit later. That is a cool new feature. But right now, if we were to preview this, since this move trigger is saying, hey, let's move when the timeline starts, it's going to move. Look at that. But let's do this. Let's change this up. Maybe we want someone to understand the basic concepts of a single, a double, a triple, or a home run in baseball. So right now what we want to do is we'll say, all right, let's have this baseball player move to first base when the learner clicks this one object. So let's go ahead and let's change this trigger. Let's move picture 2, or our character, along motion path 1 when the user clicks oval number 1. Click OK. Now you'll notice that the trigger has changed. So when we preview this time, check this out. Now he's not moving when the timeline starts, but rather he's going to move when I click number 1. Look at that. Pretty sweet, huh? Now, the cool thing about working with motion paths is that I can add multiple motion paths to the same object. This is a really great opportunity to provide the learner with choice. So watch this. I'm going to add another motion path. I'm going to go to freeform once again. And this time, let's have the character start at home, but then go to first and then second base. So you'll notice that we have freeform motion path number 2 has been created. I'm going to double click, and this time we'll move it when the user clicks oval number 2 for a double. And let's select the character again, add another motion path. Freeform once again, we'll start here, we'll go to first and to second, and finally we'll go to third. And once again over here you'll see motion path 3 has been created. So let's move it when the user clicks oval number 3. Now I could add another one to go home and attach that to oval number 4, but let's take a look at what we've got right now, and this is really great. So it gives the learner the opportunity, using the same object here, to get a sense for, all right, what does a double look like? What does it mean to get to third base? What does a triple look like? Isn't that great? So you can really start to give the learner some choice here. Now with all of these animations, you'll notice that the character will always return back here to home base when the animation starts. So it's always going to jump back. Now, in situations like this, it makes sense. I want to be able to give the learner the opportunity to see, well, what does it look like when he runs from home to second, or from home to first, or home to third? However, what if we want the learner to click 1 for the character to run to first base, 2 to go to second, then 3 to go to third, then 4 to go home? Well, what we want then is not for the character to always jump back here to home base. We want the character to animate right from where he currently is. That's where relative start point comes into play with Storyline 2's motion paths, and they are a wonderful tool. All right, so I've deleted the animations that I just created, and I'm going to add some more animations. Basically, what I want to do is I want the learner to click the 1 for the character to go to first base. And then once he's there, I want them to click number 2 for him to run to second, 3 to run to third, and 4 then to go home. So I'm going to need 4 motion paths. 1 that goes to the upper right, 1 that goes to the upper left, then 1 lower left, and 1 lower right. So we can create this triangle. So here's what we're going to do. Add a motion path, freeform. I'm going to add the first one to first base. You'll notice we have freeform motion path 1. What I'm going to do now, and a little bit of a cheat to help myself align things, I'm just going to put him on first base. Add another motion path. We'll go freeform once again. And now let's have him go to second base. There we are. I'm going to now move him to second base. You can see where this is going. Add a motion path, freeform. Let's give him a line to run to third base. And now I'm going to put him on third base and add 1 more motion path, freeform. Let's have him run home. Look at that. So you'll have 4 motion paths if you're following along here. So really, I can have him run on any of these motion paths. What I'm going to do, though, is motion path 1, I'm going to have him run that when the learner clicks 1. Motion path 2, when the learner clicks 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. So let's change that really quick. When the user clicks oval 1, we'll go on motion path 1. We'll move on motion path 2 when the user clicks oval 2, and move on motion path 3 when the user clicks oval 3, and finally down here move on motion path 4 when the user clicks motion path 4. Now watch this. If I preview this right now, we'll go 1 and he'll go, but if I hit 2, he's going to jump right back here. And it looks like he's running to third base because that was motion path 2. What we want him to do is start right here. After that first animation, we want him to stay there and then go to the next. That's where relative start position comes in. I'm going to select each of my animations and go to my path options here and select relative start point. I'm going to select that for each of these motion paths. Relative start point, relative start point. Let's have relative start point and relative start point. Now watch this. I'm going to say go to first base. That was motion path 1. And now the next animation is going to pick up right where this one leaves off. Let's go to second base on motion path 2, motion path 3, and motion path 4. Isn't that great? So now we can really control his path around the bases. And again, it gives us a lot of opportunity to create some fun interactions for our learners by not only adding multiple motion paths to an object, but then giving the learner the opportunity to choose, okay, where they're going to go, and then letting the next animation begin where the prior animation left off. Now, if you have any questions about working with motion paths, and again, I really encourage you to jump in here and just play because there are so many cool opportunities and it's really fun to play with. Let us know. Stop on by the eLearning Heroes community and ask your questions. We're going to be there to help you out. All right, take care, everybody.